this working? All right, I think it's going. Hello, this is Abram from the Success Podcast, where you will learn everything you need to know to be successful physically, mentally, emotionally, and financially. Today in this podcast, I wanted to talk about the top 5 things that I've learned after reading over 300 personal development books on sleep, stress, diet, exercise, self help, personal finance, management, business, money, like everything. And I read a ton of these books, but here are the 5 most important things that I've learned from them. So you don't have to read 300 books and you can just get this knowledge straight into your brain. All right, so number 1 is the fact that life doesn't have to get worse for things to get better. I, growing up, and maybe this is like my impact of like who I was following and being a guy and whatnot, I always thought that you should grind. You should try to do hard things now while you're younger to try to have a better life later. And like, it's worth to sacrifice now for the future of like a bigger benefit. And there's like, there's some truth to that. But when given the option between like 2 choices and you like both, choose both. Like I don't believe that you ever need to truly just have one aspect of your life that's good and sacrifice the rest. I think that's a load of garbage. And the reason I say that is because the more you improve your like mental and emotional health, you're going to have a longer like financial career. Or if you were to like burn yourself out making as much money as possible, you're still burnt out and you don't want to do it anymore. The money doesn't even matter. So, but the opposite is also true. If all you're doing is singing kumbaya and saying like life is perfect and I don't need anything, now you're also putting on beliefs that say that you shouldn't have these things. And those are all negative connotations with money and success and who you want to be as a person. Some people want to accomplish stuff. I want to accomplish things. I want to do things with my life. And if you also want to do things with yourself, you shouldn't feel guilty for that. Like being successful, making money should not make you feel guilty. It should just be a reflection of the amount of people you've helped. So like your life doesn't need to you don't need to grind and have things get worse for things to get better. You can make things better now while you're going through that process. And I get it. I still work like 10 hours a day most days of the week. And that's just because of who I am as a person. I'm not saying that you need to do that. What I'm saying is that my life doesn't have to be bad in order to get something better. I can make my life better now and get that awesome thing in the future. So, number 2, second thing I learned, massive action solves 99% of problems in life. I actually got this from a book. It's from someone called Grant Cardone, and this book is absolutely phenomenal. You don't have to agree with everything that he does with his marketing or his sales practices or his business or who he is as a person even. The book in itself is really just freaking good because it is so spot on with the amount of things that can be solved with massive amounts of action. And this plays back into like that number 1 thing that I was talking about. When I shifted in my mind that I don't need to have an 8-hour workday and instead I have 16 hours to get done what I want in life, like, and that still leaves 8 hours of sleep. My available time that I had in my life just doubled. And the speed at which I can accomplish things also doubled, but it more than doubled because I ended up being better faster. And if you're someone that worked with me in the past, you probably have noticed that, I mean, 1, I work a lot, but 2, that I had a good time doing it, and I was always doing something. The problem with trying to get better in life, the problem with trying to reach like a better like mental and emotional state is that if you do nothing, nothing makes things worse. Like when I am feeling down, I suffer from depression for nearly 2 decades. So this is speaking from experience. Trying to like take it easy or take some time to myself or really just try to relax and not be stressed out was horrible for my mental health. I've gotten to the point now where like even if I take vacation time, unless we're actively doing things on that vacation, I will probably fall into a depression. And that's just the way my psychology works. And I know that the more action I take towards improving my life and the other people's lives, the better I feel about myself. And I might not be able to be okay with just being by myself like, I don't know, totally in isolation, um, because I know that part of my purpose, part of what leads to me feeling better, and probably what leads to you feeling better as well, is not just what you do for yourself, but knowing that you're having an impact on other people's lives. And this is true with my business. This is true with my life. And it actually goes into like the next part of it. But the fact is that if you want to improve any aspect of your life, sitting around, taking it easy, doing those things does not help. It flat out does not help. Massive amount of action is the only thing that can actually help, and your life doesn't have to get worse while you're taking that action. Number three, the concept of asymmetric returns. This one is huge, absolutely massive. So, asymmetric returns means that it doesn't matter the amount of time, energy, and money you put into something. The rewards are they so completely outweigh any like long end of the tail before the actual success that it does not matter how long that tail is. So, good example. Let's say we are using like a Roth IRA. That is an example of an asymmetric return. If I put money into my Roth IRA and it's like it could just be like low cost index funds, I'm paying the tax on it now. 60 years down the line, I will guaranteed have millions inside my investment. I mean, I shouldn't say guaranteed, but it's like nearly guaranteed. Unless there's like some type of like once in a lifetime economic crash that lasted like the last like 40 years of my life, then I'd be worried about it. But the fact is that investing now for something that will compound and get better in the future is the best way to think about life. So it's not just like investing. The Roth IRA, great if you do that. You can have other investment things. Real estate, another really good example. Like buying this house, absolutely phenomenal investment. For me, like I was able to get the house, and I was paying like a high interest rate. I think I was paying like I don't know, like 5 or 7% or something ridiculous. Ridiculous now, but if you've been around in real estate for a while, 7% doesn't sound that ridiculous, but 7% interest, and then all of a sudden I'm like, all right, I know this house will be a rental property someday. I don't plan on selling it. I'll end up moving into another house, and but that investment I made now 40 years down the road is going to pay me compounding on top of that, and I've been able to refinance it and get an even lower interest rate, so that I'm only paying like 3% now, or like 2.9% or something. So I've like cut like the payment way down, and I'm going to pay less over time, and this investment has already like doubled in value. Like that's just another example of asymmetric returns. But the best asymmetric return you could have is investing in yourself. I know it can sound cliche, but it could not be more true. If you're someone that's ever worried about how much money you make, you can have total confidence in your ability to make money. You can get rid of all of that financial type of anxiety, worry. This is something that Dan Sullivan, he wrote a book on this. It's called Total Cash Confidence. Awesome book. But I'll just sum it up for you right now. It's actually free. You could download it. I could put it in the description. But essentially, if you have the confidence to be able to create value in other people's lives, and you can help other people have a bigger and better future, and you can do that. If you could have that what you offer can help someone else have a better and bigger future, there is no way you can ever run out of money. Because even if you went to zero, even if you went negative money, you could still make money because you have the ability to make other people's lives better. And that's exactly what I do with my health and fitness business. There's a reason why I put out like 100% guarantee inside my program, is because I am just totally dedicated to helping these people get a bigger and better future. And if you can invest in yourself to build the skills, knowledge, ability to have other people have bigger and better futures, that will cause an asymmetric return that is going to, that you're investing in it now, 10 years down the road is going to pay exponentially. And, this is also true with, like, I can use a lot of different examples, but asymmetric returns, if you ever find a path that it doesn't matter how much time, energy, or money is spent in it, you will always be worth the time and energy, then you want to do that, like investing in yourself. 4, this goes into what we've been talking about already a little bit, but I got this, I don't know where I got this from, one of the books. I think it was probably a Seth Godin book. It's probably in Linchpin, now that I think about it, because of how well it works. But what you want to do is you want to take blame for your life, what's happening in your current situation, work life, things like that. When things happen, put the onus of blame on yourself. And then when you're successful and you accomplish something, the very first thing you should do, take all of that credit, give it to someone else. Because if you think that you did this yourself, you're lying to yourself. I have not been as successful as I've been because of myself and me alone. I am literally only in the place I'm in today because of other people. And that is like flat out the fact. There's no such thing as like a self-made person. The person is still getting help from other people. So if I get a promotion at work, I'm immediately saying, wow, I'm so glad I got this promotion because of the people around me that have taught me. If I make a bunch of money in my business, I don't say, oh, look at me, I did all this and I made all this money, I'm the best person ever. Instead, I'm saying, I am so glad that these people inside of my program have trusted me to get them in the best shape of their life because they are the reason that I'm there. Or let's say I made a really smart like financial advice. And I'd be like, hey, you know what this is? This is the coach that taught me this. They're the ones that really instilled in this in me. The more you can just take any blame that happens, something goes wrong, take the blame and figure out how you could change to be able to fix it. But when something goes right, immediately look for the person that's the reason why things went right. Give them the credit. Give them those things. And you're going to notice your life is just going to improve exponentially. Especially if you work in a like a traditional work environment. If you do anything that is just phenomenal, give the credit to your boss. Like who cares? Like that boss, even if they're an awful boss, even if like things are going wrong, give credit away because you know eventually either your work is going to realize who is actually responsible for this thing, but they're also going to realize that you are someone that's awesome to be around, you're someone that's awesome to work with, and they know that you are never going to get an ego that's going to stand in the way of actually seeing results. So take the blame, give away credit. And number 5, this is one of the most impactful things that I learned after reading 300 plus of these personal development books. And this probably comes as a shocker after talking about all these things that have helped me be really successful in life. And that is the fact that your parents aren't perfect. Like, as much as I'd love to say that, like, all my success and everything is because of having this work ethic, having this ability. Look at me even try to fix things in my own environment right now. Because I hold myself to a standard that is very high. And I hold myself to a standard that I can be, like, I'm in the best shape of my life. Physically, mentally, emotionally, financially. And I'm not going to say that I am a perfect parent. I'm doing the best I can. And when I realize that my parents are also doing the best they can inside of the life that they grew up in, inside of the environment that they had, and I stopped trying to blame them for not being perfect. And my parents are awesome. I have awesome parents. And maybe this is because they got a divorce early on, or maybe it's just because I internalized it that way and I blamed them for like bad things because they couldn't stay together or whatever psychological reason there is. The truth is, my parents, like, they started having kids when they were in their 18 20s. Like, they had kids young. And I'm not saying that you're a bad parent if you have kids young, but the fact is, they're all people. My parents are people. I'm a person. And I realized they're doing the best with what they had. And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have this massive amount of, like, self-worth that I have today. I wouldn't be, like, I wouldn't have a freaking awesome wife, kids. I wouldn't be in this position I'm in now if my parents didn't love me. And all parents show love in whatever way that it might be. Whether that's being hard on you, whether that's actually telling you that they love you, whether it's, it could be this thing or the other. But the fact is, no parent is perfect. Your parents aren't perfect. My parents aren't perfect. But the more I can just appreciate them for who they are and as they are as people, really helps me realize that I was truly set up to be successful, and I appreciate them deeply. So that was one of the really impactful things, and it wasn't until I took a step back and I saw where, like, why am I not contacting my parents? Why am I not spending more time with them? I was holding on to, this resentment from when I was probably 8, 10, 12, whenever they got a divorce. And that's not fair to them. It's not them. They did what was best, and I can honestly say that was probably the best thing for them and our family. So that's how I like to end these things. Those are the top 5 lessons that I learned from reading 300 plus personal development books. 1, life doesn't have to get worse before it gets better. 2, massive action solves 99% of problems. 3, always invest in asymmetric returns. 4, take the blame, give away the credit. And 5, your parents aren't perfect, they're people. I hope you liked this podcast. I have another podcast that will be out soon with a really good guest who is like probably one of the best ones that I've had yet. So please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you want to learn more about how to be successful physically, mentally, emotionally, and financially. Hope you like this, and thank you for watching.